This is Ask an Expat with Marcus and Matt from an Expat's Russia, where we answer your questions about what it's like to live, work, and travel in Russia. Hey everyone, we're starting a new series called Things That Are Better in Russia, and the first topic in our first video of this series is banking, and we're talking about everyday banking, so moving money around as a normal person. In Russia, I was surprised, Matt.
Yes.
You probably had the same experience. It was there were so many different options to pay for products especially with obviously bank cards and transfers and things like that, but also electronic money. You could just have an app and pay through the app, or you could go to any mobile store like Sviznoi or MTS or something like that. These mobile providers, and they would have these terminals where you could just put bills. You type your account number in for internet and all this stuff, and you just pay your internet bill or your mobile bill or your gas, any government service bill.
Right. I just think one of the things that surprised me the most was that you can pay with your phone with Apple Pay or Google Pay or Samsung Pay literally everywhere in Russia. In the United States, even today, I cannot pay with my phone at the grocery store.
Really?
I cannot pay with my phone at most places. They just don't have the upgraded terminals that allow you to just tap. So tap to pay cards don't work either in the US and many, many places. Another thing that really was nice in Russia was that you could send money to anyone in any bank just using their phone number or the card number.
Yes.
So you could open up your online bank and do a card-to-card transfer, and the fees were, maybe 1%. If it was the same bank, they were free. This is something that in the United States, we've got all these third-party apps. It drives me crazy. Every time you need to pay someone, they're like, do you use Cash App? Do you use Venmo? Do you use Google Pay? How do I send you money? In Russia, there was never a question. You just did a transfer.
Right.
You could use their phone number. You just open your online bank app, type in their phone number, and boom, they got the money from your account. Whereas in the United States, it's so ridiculous. Another thing I found was how easy it was to open an account. Now, generally, it's getting harder for Americans everywhere to open an account because the United States government is implementing all this legislation that makes compliance very, very hard for foreign banks. Before all of this, and if you're not American, it's very easy to open an account in Russia. When I first got there in 2013, I just walked into Sberbank on a tourist visa and opened a bank account. Done. Then they sent me a text message 2 days later, come pick up your card. That was it. I had a bank account. Did the same at Alpha Bank, did the same Citibank. They wanted me to be on a work visa, but again, it was very easy. You could literally go to their head branch in Moscow, sign up for an account, and walk out with your card the same day. And like these things in the United States, it's ridiculous. My wife has been trying to open a bank account here in the US. It's been weeks. The card still hasn't come in the mail. She's got some documents that came. It says your account's open, okay, but no card. And it's so frustrating. And nothing is seamless. And then I asked them, she opened an account in the same place I have an account here in the US. Can we, transfer money between each other? She's like, yeah, but there's, this fee or that fee. It's not seamless. It's not instant. What is this? How is it that Russia has a more advanced, consumer banking system from a technology perspective? Also, if you compare the style of the apps, like the apps that you could use in Russian banks were far, far more advanced than anything here in the United States. Again, I can't speak for Western Europe.
Lately, they've even won awards like the Sberbank app and the Tinkoff app.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's all these. It seems like the Western banks like Raiffeisen. So I had a Tinkoff account, a Sberbank account. Everyone has a Sberbank at one point, right? Mm-hmm. And then Raiffeisen, I had a Citibank account. Citibank in Russia was really weird using that. I didn't like as much as the Sberbank or Tinkoff. But it seemed like the Russian ones were very, very progressive in the technology, like the UI and the user experience. I really was frustrated when I, opening my American banking apps on my phone is just like too much. Even though the apps in Russia were in Russian, obviously, if you speak Russian, it's easier. But some of the apps have an English version too.
Yes, Citibank did. I don't know. I mean, Citibank, the only real difficulties I had were because, you had to they had to comply with every single U.S. law, and they took it very, very serious. Whereas I think Sberbank, they're like, we make the Americans fill out the form, but, we're a bit more lenient. Whereas Citibank, being a U.S. company, of course, it's a separate company in Russia, but I think that's where many of the difficulties came from. I mean, I never had a problem paying with my Citibank card anywhere. The app was always great. But I know what you mean. Like every time I needed to do something, if I wanted to put money on the card and from cash, I had to show them my passport and my registration and all of this. Whereas at Sberbank, I could just go and put the money in the machine and it was done. It was on my account. So, I think it depends on the bank in Russia, but the big ones, I mean, it's awesome. I love it. I loved having, all of the technology with banking. And then coming back to the US, it was just a complete culture shock. You couldn't do anything. Transferring money takes a couple days, and it's very frustrating.
What drives me nuts in the US is that I have Chase, for example, and my brother has, what is it? Wells Fargo. And, if I need to pay him back, now there's Zelle and Venmo, but if one of those people don't have it, you have to do a traditional bank transfer. I guess there's PayPal, but that's the funny thing is with in the US with these complications between banks, you have this rise of third-party apps like PayPal and Venmo, but in Russia,
billion-dollar companies,
and in Russia,
you don't even need them.
You don't need them. I mean, you just need the person's phone number or bank card, and even if it's you don't have the same bank as they, Tinko, for example, has, you transfer 20,000 rubles free every month, without any commission or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or I think just the mentality in kind of, obviously the environment is different too, but the technology is more progressive too. The internet banking apps, and it just has to move quickly. Right.
Very much more competitive than here in the US. But anyway, that's kind of our first episode about things that are better in Russia. We want to kind of open people's eyes that there are actually things that are not so great in the United States and in Western Europe. People take, for granted and think, this is the best it can get, but that is definitely not the case. And then, we'll try to do another series where we talk about things that are better in the US than in Russia. But if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe. We hope to see you in another video. This was Ask an Expat with Marcus and Matt from An Expat's Russia. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have a question about Russia, let us know in the comments, and we'll answer it in another video.